Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you very much for stopping by. I've got a few things I'm going to run through tonight. This is one of those evenings when I'm just going to hit on a number of topics that might be of some interest to some people and so forth, as opposed to focusing on one topic. Now, one of the things is the beach. I talked the last time about the idea of having a beach put in here in the city. And that idea is moving right along. Obviously, Mayor Fabrega has been planning this for a while, and since he is now installed as mayor, it is moving right along. And I've been reading more about it, and it's apparent that they've got it in pretty good order. They've got it set up, and it's going to be done, of course, in coordination with the whole sanitation system, because the idea is to have that done. And the bay is already much improved in the last few years, but we want to have it completely done. and that's not going to be a problem. And they've located where the sand is going to be taken and brought up to do it. Thankfully, as I'd mentioned before, it's very, very shallow here at the city. And there is rock out there as well, which helps it to anchor it. The sand it's been a beach in the past. It can be a beach again. It's not going to be as involved as it would be in some. And of course, we talked to other cities, Barcelona, Rio, other areas that have had recreated beaches or created them where there were none before. So it's not a big problem. The sand, identifying that locally, is very useful. You may not be aware of it, but sand is very valuable and it's in short supply. And it's probably, if you think that's a laugh or joke, it's probably because you think the sand in the desert is fine for sand on a beach, and it is not. I have lived on the desert. I have been in a desert sandstorm. Most exciting, well, not exciting, it's huge when you see it roll down ever so quietly and silently, this gigantic rolling mass of sand that goes way high up in the sky until finally it covers everything. That sand is so fine. When I had one hit my home and just on the edge of the desert in Niger in Africa, I closed everything up. I used tape to cover every crack. I went to a great deal of effort to keep that sand out. And of course it got in, and it's so fine. Now that sand is useless for a beach. So basically, you're going to have to get it from rivers or oceanfront or somewhere else and so forth. We've done this before, and of course, we do have it. So it's been identified. That's the important thing. We know where it's coming from, and it's legitimate, and so on. So all these pieces are put together. It's still going to take, we figure, 2 years, 2.5 years to get the thing up and running, sometime in 2022. Here's another artist rendering. Here I put up, and this came in one of our local publications of what they think it's going to look like. That beach will be it'll be 1.8 kilometers. That's a little over one. That's about 1.1 miles long, and that's a pretty sizable beach. This is important to us in certain respects because it's as if we now have the total package. I often say to people that Panama City and Panama it's a business city and a business country, and traditionally it's not been tourist oriented. But the last 20 years we've seen immense change there, and we have so much more now. And I talk about the city as a place to live, where I might not have done that for most people just coming down 20 years ago. Now, yeah, definitely. No question about it. But one thing we miss, of course, is just visually, is seeing a beach. It's not that I would intend to spend much time there, but I would certainly enjoy seeing it, and I know others would enjoy being there. It gives us the total package. We have more museums and sites and all sorts of interesting things and old ruins and what have you for people who are interested in the tourist experience, and the old quarter, which is so beautiful now. A beach is going to be a very nice addition. One thing that people frequently ask, again and again, how much do I pay for internet? And there are so many different plans and programs, what have you. You have cable, you have DSL, and you have satellite, and so on, that it's impossible to make one total for everybody. But I get mine through Cable Onda, which is the primary cable service here. I believe it's the largest of the services. And it's in most of the country, but not everywhere. Okay, but it's very definitely in the Panama City area. It's overwhelmingly dominant here, along with DSL and others, but it's number one. So what do I pay for here for my internet service? I'm just looking at my bill. Okay, I pay $43 a month. And I ran my test this evening, a speed test on it, and let me pull that up. And I got 336 as my download time. And, you know, the upload's a little less than 10, as usual. Nothing special there. 336 is fine with me. Sometimes if it's really congested evening or something, it might fall below 300. But it typically runs from about 330 to 360 for download. And as I say, it's $43 a month. And so what can I say? There are so many different plans and different locations and different services and what have you. I can't guarantee that's what the speed you'll get or the price you'll pay, but I think it's a fairly safe bet that you're going to be in that neighborhood if you're in cable and you're in the Panama City area. Hopefully you'll do as well outside, but I can't swear to that. All right, now one other is electricity. Now, this is interesting because in my old, let me see if I get this up here. In my old location, I had about 140 square meters, which is about 1,500 square feet. It was configured differently than the current place. I paid more for it. It was a fancier place and so on. I have taken my own advice, so to speak, to others. I brought down the cost by taking advantage of the lower rental rates that we have currently. Moved into a location that's smaller too because I'm downsizing. As you get older, you begin to really recognize how much space you need and which is appropriate for you. And I'm single, so as a result, I don't need a larger space. I don't have guests a lot of the time who will be spending time in my guest room, just very occasionally. So with that in mind, I have now maybe 100 square meters, 95, 100, or somewhere around 1,100 square feet, perhaps, that neighborhood. And it's configured differently. So the area I actually have to cool is a little bit less than it might even be given a smaller area, just the way things are put together. So I expected it to be substantially cheaper. I'd hoped to save at least 30% or so. I've been paying, now this is after the reductions for age, about $140, $145. And as I've mentioned to people, this is a month, of course, but as I've mentioned to people, I'm on air conditioning almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the reason for that is I work all the time. I do go out of the house and the apartment. I do visit other places. I turn everything off. But otherwise, I like a cool environment when I'm working at the computer. And that's exactly, and in fact, I like a cool environment anyhow, but I mean, particularly if I'm working at the computer. So as a result, I run air conditioning 24 hours a day, depending on where I am. So wherever I'm spending my time, that air conditioner is going to be on. And that means that other people who spend much more time outside their apartment or perhaps are not as interested in being that much cooler than what they might be, or they have a great breeze that comes through the apartment, one thing or another like that, they might find it, they would not run it as much. But I don't. So given all that, when I find that my monthly bill, again with the deductions, runs out to about $55 in this place. Good grief, you know, compared to 140 or 145, that's pretty darn good, isn't it? And I don't know anything about these things. So those of you who are experts there, you don't need to educate me. I don't need to know. I'm just letting you know that when I moved in, the rental agent who has been looking for me said, you know, this is a great place because they have new air conditioning and they're inverters. I said, oh, great. Okay, cool, literally. Well, I had no idea what an inverter was, and it wasn't until later that I realized it's a different style of air conditioner. I guess it's apparently newer, more modern, and it uses substantially less energy. And so I know a portion of the savings here is due to the size of the apartment, but it couldn't be that big. So this inverter business is pretty cool. I mentioned it only in passing because if you're renting, you get whatever is available. But if you're buying a house and you're thinking of replacing the air conditioning units that are maybe older, or if you're thinking of, just having to buy new ones anyhow, think in terms of inverters. I've just said as much as I can say on it because I know so little about these things. But that's pretty much, it's a pretty good idea. It's a pretty good thing. I'm really pleased. I'll tell you, I'm simplifying my life to the extent I can. Certainly don't rent a place to impress people or anything of that sort. I never have, really. But I've always wanted to be able to entertain professionally and all that business. I just put that aside now. If I want to entertain professionally, I go out and eat in a restaurant, do it that way. Or we're meeting in offices and one thing or another, talking there. So I find that I not only get by with less, but I'm happier with it. And I love my place now because I have this great view of the city, and at night and in the daytime. So the ocean in the daytime and the city itself at night. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to give you an example. My current rent, by the way, is $1,300 a month, and that is furnished. Fully furnished. I own none of my own furniture. I'm not going to take in a tour. I'm not cleaned up and it's not presentable. But what I will do is I'll show you here as I'm doing, I should have up there now. This is a photograph of what it looks like from my balcony. That is the Panama Bay, otherwise known as the Pacific Ocean out there. And it's very nice to have it nearby. And then this shot is actually from the guest bedroom windows. They have the best view, and this is of the city. And I think it's pretty dramatic, and I love it. So I'm very happy in my $1,300 a month furnished apartment with my $55 a month for air conditioning and all electricity in total, and my 360 and download speed in my internet. So just wanted to add that in because some people do ask about these things. I like to share when it occurs to me and I think about it. So enough for that. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will be coming back to you fairly soon. Remember, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. You will get notified of new videos, and if you ring the little bell beside the subscription button, you're supposed to get an immediate notification of anything new that comes down. So with that in mind, have a wonderful evening or day or whatever it is you have before you, and I look forward to the next time we get together.